afternoon. So it's a race weekend again. I did not make a video last week. I was watching a ton of videos to see what I do pick up. So like I've said before, I listen to the drivers' interviews and I will see if there's something that I pick up that I specifically want to talk about, especially around the word athletes use and which can influence their behaviors and their actions. Our words are extremely powerful. So what I did the previous 2 weeks is I've listened specifically to the pre-race interviews because I thought that would give me a good indication as to what's going on in the driver's mind before the race weekend. And I also listened to, that's actually where I caught the word that a lot of them use, where I listened to the interviews that they did with the drivers' parade around the track right before the main race on Sunday and the Imola race. So the word that I picked up, disturbing, because you would hear this a lot with athletes when they have interviews, is the word try. Try is probably the single biggest violator of our integrity that we have when we use the word try, because the word try really implies, or it really ruins the impact of our own integrity to follow through. If we say we are going to try and win a race, and you can do this with anything if you ask somebody to try and do something, but if an athlete say they are going to try to win the race, what the other person is really hearing is they're going to attempt it, but it's not going to happen. That's what the word try really means. The word try implies failure. It also works the other way around as a coach. If you as a coach tell your athlete, just try to get ahead of the first person, or just try to get a head start, or just try to be at the first turn first. What you're really telling to or saying to your athlete is, it's going to be a long shot, man, but and you might or might not. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be a long shot either way. So that's what the athlete is really hearing. And as a coach, you also do not want to use the word try when you work in a coaching setting with an athlete. The word try, like I said, presupposes that we are going to fail. It implies we're not serious, or at the very least, you indicate that there's going to be a lack of adequate action. There are two types of try, two meanings in the word try. And I want to clarify that as well. There's one meaning where you really say it in the sense of, yeah, man, I'm going to give it a go. If you ask somebody, for example, have you skydived before? I might try it. In that sense, I might give it a go. The other example is the one that I'm speaking about today. And the reason why I want to highlight those two examples is I do hear Lando Norris use the word try, but he uses it in the first meaning in his sentences. The ones that I've heard so far, there might be instances where he used it in the negative sentence or in the negative sense. Where he used the word try, where the interviewer would ask him something and he would say, yeah, well, if I had to translate it, but he would say, yeah, I'll give it a go. And that's how he often uses the word try. But the word try in the negative sense is really just an excuse to get yourself out of something. You don't have to commit to it. And like I said, at the very least, you don't have to take any adequate action. So, if I, as an individual, use the word try, what I'm really saying is I'll attempt it, but I'm not going to do it. If you have a friend and you invite a friend over, or you invite somebody and they'll say, I'll try to make it. What they're really saying, and we've all experienced that, and we've all done it. What they're really saying is, I'm not coming. As opposed to, I will come or I will not. So you can practice this, and you can even do this little exercise with your athletes as well, is if you have something around you, let's say, I have a cup standing here. If you look around at something and I tell you, try to pick it up, I'm going to like try to pick up the, don't pick up the cup, try to pick it up. Don't pick it up, try to pick up the cup. Maybe if you try long enough, the cup, you will eventually pick up the cup. And that's exactly what is happening with the word try. It's not going to happen. The problem with the word try as well is the more you use the word try, the more familiar your body is going to become with the feeling of trying, and you're going to get comfortable with the feeling of trying. And that in itself is going to keep you at that space where you are just going to continue to try. The other interesting thing is the word struggle works exactly the same. Lewis Hamilton uses the word struggle a lot. He struggled to control the car. I remember in the first video I did, even in the right after the testing weekends that they've had, I think after the second testing weekend, I'm not sure, but there is a video, a longer video where I did an analysis, especially between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. He consistently used the word struggle, like the car is a struggle. I'm struggling to control the car. The track is a struggle. This is a struggle. The weather was a struggle. And struggle works exactly the same way. If we continually use this word of struggle, we become familiar with the feeling of struggling. And we get comfortable with that feeling of being in that space of struggling. If we continue to use these words like try and struggle, we just continue to reinforce it in our mind. So this consistent reinforcement, we now have input into our mind consistently the whole time. And this creates certain patterns based on the information that our mind gets. And these patterns are what eventually directs our thoughts and our behavior. If the input is try continuously, our subconscious mind is going to interpret that as attempt to the point of not succeeding. That's all we're telling our mind if we continue to use the word try. The word try is one of the words you really have to take out of your vocabulary, especially when you work with children, especially when you work with children athletes as well, and especially your own children. Because what you are teaching them and teaching their minds is that they should attempt to the point of not succeeding. When that input that comes into our mind of try, that part that we like consciously, well, and then eventually subconsciously input into our mind, when that gets combined with past experiences, we're going to get a certain outcome. So remember that. You cannot change your past experience, let's say as an athlete, but you can change the input. And now you can change the outcome. So if you want to change the outcome, you need to change that input. That's the only thing you can change, because something that has happened in your past, you cannot change that. It has happened, it's done, finito. You want to change the current input that's coming into your mind. And whenever you hear an athlete or a fellow coach use the word, or a fellow team member, it doesn't matter who's involved with the team or the athlete, if you hear them use the word try, call them out on it. Remember, all behavior is learned behavior. You don't have to wake up suddenly and now you suddenly use the word try. You've heard it. You grew up with the word, people using the word try around you. Everybody uses the word. You're going to need help to get called out on that. So, and other people will also need help to get called out on that, because now it's already a subconscious habit of using the word try, and you subconsciously continue to reinforce that habit of attempting but not succeeding. So if somebody uses the word try, just call them out on it and ask them, is that a yes or is that a no? Or for yourself, replace the word try with the word do. Make a commitment to yourself to focus on words that's going to predispose you to succeed as opposed to predispose you to fail. If you give the right input to your mind, again, with your experiences, you can really change the output, and you will be amazed with the output and the outcome that will follow that. So much so that I mean, it's going to be way much better than you've ever imagined. I'll see you in the next video after this weekend, race weekend. It's going to be exciting. I think I see Mercedes has done some changes. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend. Let's see what the drivers are up to, and even the team principals, what they are up to in their interviews and their words they use. You can subscribe to my channel if this information is interesting. You can apply this information to any area of your life. Any athlete, any coach can use this information to work with the athletes. And please do check in the subscription below. I do have upcoming workshops specifically for coaches and athletes. And these are live workshops where we have live interactions. And you can come with live questions and scenarios and things that you need help with. And we work through that. It's short, 30 minutes, quickly in a lunch hour for most of you. So I'll see you then. Bye.